Alrighty, thank you everyone who's joined us today on this webinar. We've got some really important information to share with you, which could be the make or break for your business. COVID-19 has shattered lives in more ways than one through sickness, death, and of course, the loss of livelihood for many small business owners. We want you to survive and thrive through the COVID-19 pandemic, so we wanted to share with you our strategy for business continuity. My name's Catherine. I'm the Head BAS Agent and Director at KHB Bookkeeping. Please feel free to reach out to me after this webinar to discuss your individual needs. Being an existing KHB client means we already have a pretty good idea of how your business runs and the likely impacts you're experiencing right now. I'm also happy to discuss your business situation and stimulus package options with you on a one-on-one nature after the webinar. At KHB, our core purpose is to deliver bookkeeping services to small businesses, giving our clients time freedom, financial freedom, and mind freedom. So with this core purpose in mind, we're here to share with you some practical things you can do to mitigate the impact of the current COVID-19 pandemic on your business and family life. Now, this is a little bit ironic, but before we kick off, I just wanted to give you a thought from the day from JFK. When written in Chinese, the word crisis composes of two characters. One represents danger and the other represents opportunity. Regardless, what we are faced with now is most certainly a crisis. At the same time, it's a real opportunity. It's an opportunity for you to take a leadership role in your business, to help your team deal with the uncertainty, to be proactive in communicating with your clients. Let them know that you're still open for business, and make a plan for a more sustainable and resilient business, or in the worst case scenario, a plan to exit your business with minimum negative impact on you and your team. So the agenda for today's session, we're just going to go through some mindsets which you really need to have during these difficult times. We're going to talk about building a plan for yourself, your team, your business. We're going to outline the government support that's available right now, talk about your next steps, and again, as I just mentioned at the end of this webinar, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to talk about your business situation, answer your questions one-on-one. So to put us all in the right frame of mind, I wanted to share with you the most powerful business model I've ever seen. It's called Orbed. In times of crisis, we have two choices about how we can respond. We can act above the line or below the line. Below the line actions include blaming that person who ate that bat, or the federal government for bringing in lockdown measures and impacting your business, making excuses why there is nothing that can be done about it, or going into denial that there's actually even an issue, and in doing so, putting ourselves, our team, and our business at great risk. Or we can act above the line. We can take ownership that we must do something to protect ourselves and our business. We can recognize that we are accountable to our team and clients at their greatest time of need, and we can take responsibility for protecting ourselves, our team, our customers. The fundamental mindset here is that we have a choice and mustn't take on a victim mindset in these times. As well as acting above the line, we also have to consider who we need to be in these times. In other words, our personal brand and identity. If we're not careful, we could end up acting like this. When I have done all this important stuff, I'll then have time to do things like make a plan and get through this so that I can be a great leader. A far better mindset is to actually switch this the other way around. In order to be a great leader for my business, I need to do things like update my plan and get proactive with my team and my customers. I will then have the most successful business I can during these difficult times. Lastly, the next mindset is from Sir Richard Branson and serves as a great reminder as to where we need to place our energy right now. Think about who we need to look after in these times. First and foremost, it's about you, the business owner. But we also need to think about our team. We also need to look after our customers. and we need to look after our business. So what we generally find as small business owners is that all of our energy is split between the team, the customers, and the business itself, with very little time left over to look after ourselves. So Richard Branson gives us a very useful model to follow. Clients do not come first, employees come first. If you take care of your employees, they will take care of your clients. So if we have a team, even if these are contractors, make sure that you as the owner are doing whatever you can to look after your team. By looking after your team well, they will be well equipped to look after your customers. And if you pivot your sales message and your team look after your customers, then those customers will look after your business. And if this new sales plan is in place, the business will look after you as the owner. Now, I appreciate that this may seem oversimplified and some of you may not have a team, but the point here is that it all starts with you as the owner. If you act above the line, remember who you need to be, and make a plan, your plan should start with your team. If you don't have a team, your plan needs to start with your customers. So knowing the Sir Richard Branson model starts with you as the business owner, let's talk about what you can do now to improve your resilience. Your well-being is critical. Remember to put your oxygen mask on first. Make sure you stay healthy, get as much sleep as you can, keep your exercise going, and get support if you need it. Select your information sources carefully and try to minimize the time you spend on social media. Stay calm, stay connected with friends and family, and stay positive. Focus on the needs of your family. Their health and well-being is extremely important. Make a plan for how you can support them, especially while in isolation. A very empowering thing you can do right now is a personal budget. This doesn't need to be complex. It could be as simple as totaling your expenditure from the last month and identifying your monthly personal costs. From there, you can identify where you can make savings on entertainment, coffee, travel, gifts, holidays. Every saving you make takes pressure off what the business needs to provide you. Don't cut costs for essentials like a strong and reliable internet connection, because if you're working from home, that's obviously a must. Likewise, think about your personal asset planning. Things like making sure your personal insurance, life and income protection and wills are up to date. Make sure that you've got appropriate powers of attorney in place. Now, I'm not an estate planning expert, so I suggest you speak with your solicitor or Australian Executor Trustees to get advice and powers of attorney drawn up. Your team members will be worried about their job security. The government have stated that there are going to be significant job losses. Be open with your team. Share relevant parts of your plan with them and be honest about the potential impact the pandemic is going to have on your business. If there are job losses, ensure you obtain legal and HR advice on the best way to handle the restructuring and redundancy process. It is likely that people will remain in some form of lockdown for the coming weeks, possibly months. Decide what additional resources you need to provide your team with and consider how you can best use technology to maintain communication. Make sure you have a COVID-19 policy in place. For our Northern Territory clients, this is a condition of the proposed lifted restrictions and the roadmap to the new normal. Keep your team safe and let them know what support is available to them. We'll cover off more on government support shortly. The support you offer your customers right now will impact the support your customers give you in the future. Customers need to be reassured that you're still operating and that you're taking specific measures to mitigate their exposure to the virus. Your policy should cover steps your business is taking to protect your customers. Share this information with them. Review your terms of trade and update your terms to reflect your changing business practices. Share your updated terms of trade with your customers and highlight the key changes. In particular, review your payment terms and delivery terms. Remember to enforce your terms of trade at this time. Don't let customers avoid paying you, as this could have a material impact on the sustainability of your business. Just as we mentioned earlier, put your oxygen mask on first. It is essential that you have sufficient cash coming into your business. Cash is the oxygen your business needs to survive. We'll talk more about cash flow management shortly. To improve your cash flow, make a plan to deal with your suppliers. Where you can, negotiate new payment terms with your suppliers. If you can pay up front, ask for a prompt payment discount. If you don't have sufficient cash to pay up front, then ask to pay over a longer period of time. Ask if it's possible to hold the stock on consignment and only pay your supplier once the stock is sold. Discuss your supplier's supply chain and the measures they're taking to continue supply. Ask about their contingency plans for what may happen if deliveries can't be made or supplies can't be obtained. Consider whether maybe you need to order additional stock now while it's available, if it's likely to become scarce in the coming months. And just reduce your current minimum reordering levels and don't reorder stock that's not selling well. Review your supplier contracts in regards to the return of stock. Discuss whether you can return excess stock if it's not selling. Ensure the contracts are updated if any terms are changed. And if you cannot return the stock, then consider discounting slow-moving stock to convert it back to cash. Review the contracts you have with other suppliers. Is there a clause which could allow you to cancel orders or change the terms in this current crisis? If you cannot meet the terms of your contract, make sure you seek legal advice and enter negotiations with your supplier. Review all other key contracts, including commercial leases, vehicle and equipment leases. You may need to renegotiate some of these. And just remember, if you don't ask, you don't get. Another area of focus needs to be on your Business 101 cycle. As we often tell you, there's a massive difference between profit and cash. Profit is what you pay tax on. Cash is the oxygen your business needs to survive. Let's just briefly walk through the Business 101 cycle. Starting it at the top with you, the owner. Introduce cash into the business to purchase assets. Those assets are generally used to generate a profit. How you increase a profit is to improve revenue or sales. I know it can be difficult during these challenging times, but it is still possible. You can look at increasing your margins, efficiencies, or trimming your overhead expenses. So now is a very good time to be looking closely for some potential new revenue lines, potential new customers, and/or a pivot in your sales strategy. Also think about what you can be doing right now to avoid losing existing customers. Once you've derived your profit, you need to figure out how you're going to turn that into cash. Profitable businesses can and do go broke at times like these, and you need to be looking at how you can maximize your cash flow using strategies like getting paid quicker, reducing stock, reducing your work in progress, and by negotiating better payment terms with your suppliers. Now is not the time to be slow or lenient on debt collection. Other areas to help improve your cash flow are through better terms with your financiers. Can you go on interest only or get a repayment holiday? Likewise, there are many tax concessions available right now too. I'll go through these shortly in more detail. Following on from the Business 101 cycle, here are the 7 ways to grow your business. Putting some focus and planning into these may help reduce the overall impact of COVID-19 on your business. First one, client retention. What can you be doing right now to delight your customers? Many of them are also going to be struggling, so stay in contact. See what you can do to help them and build on your already strong client relationship. Lead generation. You should be looking for new avenues to attract potential new customers. Social media is a great cost-effective method for attracting new business. Prospect conversion. Ensure you're making it as easy as possible to buy from right now. Can you offer a delivery service or an online ordering option? Increasing your transaction value. Can you encourage your customers to buy more from you? Are there other supporting products or services that they're not aware of? Transaction frequency. What can you do to encourage your customers to come back more regularly? For example, locking in their next purchase, or at least asking for a referral for a new customer if your work is more of a one-off nature. Reducing your overheads, what can you do right now to preserve your current margins? Can you get a better price from your suppliers, or focus on the products and services that give you the greatest margin? And reducing your overheads, which costs can be removed from your business altogether right now? Travel, entertainment, vehicle costs could be a good place to start. Often one of the highest overheads in business is the interest associated with loans, and loan repayments can be a massive drain on business at this time. Here is a list of ways the banks can be helping you right now. Increasing temporary overdraft, reassessing your asset finance funding agreements, loan repayment holidays, some short-term hardship loans, short-term mortgage holidays, and reviewing your business credit card options. Part of your business continuity plan should be a discussion with your bank about how they can help you right now. While most business insurance policies are likely to have exclusion for COVID-19 type pandemics, it is still important to review your insurances. Look at your HR matters and employment contracts, your theft and loss of property, public liability, professional indemnity, shareholder buyout and key person. It's important that you check your insurances are all up to date. We can refer you to a trusted industry specialist if you'd like another set of eyes to go over your current insurance policies. All right, getting into the federal government support and tax considerations. The first one, which we've already started to see rolling out, the boosting cash flow for employers. The PAYG rebates are already flowing out to small businesses. There is a maximum of $100,000 on offer until the 30th of September. Talk to your accountant or bookkeeper now to make sure that you're maximising this benefit. The temporary relief for financially distressed businesses is basically putting a measure in place to defer statutory demands for payments and temporary relief for directors from any personal liability while trading insolvent. This one's kind of like really impacting those cafes and restaurants that had to close their doors and they're just not earning any income whatsoever. The instant asset write-off, the government's increasing that from $30,000 to $150,000. Now, this is great for businesses who might be showing a high net profit, but as we know, a lot of small businesses are struggling to turn a positive bottom line. So this is really not going to help in the immediate future for a lot of small businesses. The support for apprentices and trainees, I love this one. If you've got some apprentices and trainees in your business, you can be reimbursed up to $21,000 for their wages from the period 1st of January to 30th of September. Important thing to note there, if you're receiving the apprenticeship support, you cannot also double dip with the JobKeeper payment. It's one or the other. Now, the ATO are being very generous at the moment, and when it comes to payment deferrals, PAYG instalment variations, and remitting interest and penalties, we've seen them be incredibly understanding with small business debt. We've had clients, we've been able to negotiate payment arrangements with the ATO and have payments and interest deferred until mid-September. So if your ATO debt is something that's keeping you awake at night, please contact your accountant or bookkeeper, because we can negotiate with the ATO for you and get a great outcome. Now, this is the best and most straightforward document I've seen which explains the JobKeeper payment, so credit to the team at Workplace Wizards. Basically, you've got three options if you're opting in for JobKeeper. You can stand down your employees. They will need to be back paid to the date that they were stood down. Now, this has caused a lot of financial stress for small business because in some cases, the doors have been closed with no income coming in and hence there's no cash to pay wages. The ATO in their wisdom has suggested that businesses seek short-term funding from banks to meet these obligations. You can direct your employees to change their duties. For example, you might have a bar manager, but no bar running at this time. However, you need help in the kitchen or with delivery services. You can redirect the employment duties to fill the gaps in your business. And finally, you can request that your employees reduce their working days and pro-rata their salary. You can also request that staff use up their annual leave. Now, leave entitlements do continue to accrue while employees are being paid JobKeeper. Now, the news that just broke in the last day or so is that the ATO have extended the deadline for the April JobKeeper payments. So we now have until the 8th of May to pay our employees for the month of April, and we have until the 31st of May to register clients, and we can still get reimbursed for April payments. The ATO have advised that the JobKeeper payments will commence in the first week of May. So to avoid temporarily being out of pocket, we recommend that you complete your monthly declaration by the 7th of May and enrol your eligible employees as soon as possible. The monthly declaration process can be a bit tricky, and if you're unsure, we highly recommend you contact your accountant or bookkeeper to get help. So we've talked about the mindsets you need to have in these difficult times and what you need to do to look after yourself, your team, and your customers. We've shared some ideas for how you can improve your sales, margin, profit, and cash flow. We've shared in general terms what support is available from the government. Now it's essential that you decide what you're going to do. Clearly, doing nothing is not an option. Now's the time to put on the oxygen mask and make a plan to get through the crisis, even if that plan involves closing your business. You're far better off to make that decision sooner rather than later. Part of the planning is to surround yourself with experts. Us, your bank, your legal, your HR advisors, we're all here to help you. Remember to stay above the line and live into the be, do, have mindset. Focus on what you can do. With this in mind, we've developed the business continuity plan and guide, which I'll show you briefly now. You may already have a copy of this. It might have been attached to the invitation to the webinar. If you don't have a copy and you'd like to get your hands on it, just email myself or Justine, and we'll happily send it through to you. So the business continuity plan, it's about 10 pages and it covers in more detail the things that we've talked about in today's webinar. So starting with your resilience, so looking at your well-being, your family, your personal budget, personal asset planning, moving into all the things that you can do to be supporting your team, talking about supporting and retaining your customers, so communicating with your customers and letting them know that you're still open for business, working with your suppliers and negotiating payment arrangements, doing a bit of a deep dive into your business and looking at your cash flow forecasting and cash flow management processes. And lastly, looking at your bank assistance, so making a priority there to talk to your bank, and some checklists there for getting your insurances reviewed. So as you can see, it's quite a detailed and in-depth plan, and we want to help you in these challenging times. As I've discussed, our recommendation is to complete this business continuity plan. So that's why we've kind of created these templates to help you through that process. So we've got 3 options at the moment. You can meet with me online and we can do this together. The advantage of this approach is that we'll be able to make sure that you get all of the entitlements that you're eligible for. We also believe that combining your expertise with our expertise will result in a far better plan. The second option is that go ahead, do the first draft yourself, work through it, and then catch up with myself for an hour session on Zoom where we can go through the plan and just refine it. The third option is that we're happy for you to do it yourself. We do appreciate though that it is a hectic time, and we really don't want this to become another one of those things on the bottom of the to-do list. We appreciate that it's difficult to commit to spending money at this time, so we can offer payment plans to suit. Importantly, we want you to be able to claim your maximum entitlement to government and other supports right now. More importantly, it's about making your plan as quickly as possible, and we're here to help you do that. As I mentioned at the start of the webinar, please feel free to give me a call to discuss your personal situation. I'm happy to answer any questions on a one-on-one basis after the webinar. Thanks for making the time to attend this webinar. I appreciate that your time is very valuable right now, and we hope we've given you plenty of ideas to think about. Before we go, I thought I'd share this little quote with you. Anyone can lead when the plan is working. the best lead when the plan falls apart. Let's make sure you have a new and better plan to get you through this difficult time. Thanks everyone for attending, and please enjoy the rest of your week.